going to be a ramble whisper video about my beautiful cat, Pikachu, who is currently sat on my lap, and I'm going to try my very best not to disturb, so she hopefully stays there for the duration of the video. So I'm going to be telling you a bit about Pikachu. She's obviously featured in my other videos, incidentally, but yeah. So let me say a little. Pikachu is a American shorthair. As you can see, she's a beautiful tortoiseshell cat. Let's see if I can get her to look around. Yeah, there we go. She's being a little bit standoffish today, but I will say she is generally a very affectionate cat. And she does. Yeah, there we go. She does love a good head scratch. She likes to be scratched behind the ears. She likes. Oh, she's sticking her butt in the air. Pikachu, not now. So, okay, she's settling down. That's good. But yeah, so I've had Pikachu for about 2 years, almost. I got her in November of 2023. And yeah, she's a very affectionate cat. I know lots of people complain about their cats always being standoffish and kind of never wanting to cuddle or to play. Pikachu is not like that. I mean, what she wants more than anything, as you can probably see, is to sit on my lap and fall asleep. So literally whenever I lie down for like any amount of time, Pikachu will find me within a few minutes. And yeah, once she gets settled, as cat owners will probably know, it's very hard to move a cat. And yeah, Pikachu, I'd say she's like a, I don't want to say a needy cat, but she does need attention. And she's a bit anxious. So when I've been away, if I ever go away for a day or two, or sometimes if I go away for a night, particularly if I'm like leaving in the evening and coming back in the morning, I'll just leave her some food and water, and she'll be pretty content. But when I come back, you can tell she's missed me. She's kneading me with her paws. She is kind of wandering up and down, 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 wandering up and down on my lap, kind of like asserting, asserting her sort of her territory or whatever. And yeah, she's constantly like headbutting me, and yeah, it's really sweet. I don't want to disturb her too much, but I know I generally stroke her gently. Pikachu, stop showing your butt to the camera. Let's see if I can just show you. There we go. But yeah, she loves to have her booty scratched. But yeah, I'll see if I can get her to. Yeah, you're a very cute cat, aren't you, Pikachu? A very cute cat. So yeah, as I mentioned, I've only had her for 2 years, but she is almost 7. Her birthday gets used to being outside and kind of force them to be inside. So Pikachu has always been an indoor cat. And I didn't want a cat that, I wanted a cat that already was a few years old. Oh, here she comes. This is what I mean. Oh, Pikachu. Pikachu. Yeah. I wanted to get a cat that was already a few years old because I wanted to have a sense of the cat's personality. I didn't want to get a cat who was basically like a dickhead. And yeah, I remember the description of Pikachu, which was very accurate, although obviously I only had the description to go on. I got her from a website which is just like people who can't look after their cats anymore for whatever reason and are looking to pass them on to someone new. Yeah, the description was just really ideal. You know, Pikachu, it said, was an indoor cat. She liked to look out the window, and I've got a lot of windows in this flat, and you know, she really does she loves sitting on the windowsill. And what was it saying? She likes to sit in the bathtub, obviously without any water in it. And that is true, and I've got a bathtub, so that was good. And they wanted someone, understandably, who could be with her a lot. And I was studying at the time, so I was working from home a lot anyway, so that was no trouble. And they wanted a household with no other cats. So obviously, I should say, yeah, I'd never had a cat before Pikachu, and I don't have any other cats in the flat. So yeah, I think Pikachu enjoys being the kind of head of the household, as it were. So there were two reasons that the previous keeper was getting had to part ways with Pikachu. I should say she was very attached to Pikachu and very upset at having to part ways, and it was clearly very moving for her and kind of moving for me to see the attachment they had. Unfortunately, so she had, I think, 3 other cats, and one of them kept trying to play a fight with Pikachu, and she didn't like it. Pikachu, I think, isn't much of a fighty cat, or I think she's not much of a play fighty cat, really, although in the last sort of year or so, she's become a bit more play fighty. So she'll pat my ankles with her paws when she wants me to play with her. Particularly if I start playing with her and then I try and move on to something else. And sometimes if she gets excited, she'll kind of play. She doesn't actually scratch me, but she'll kind of do like a playful scratch or a playful like little nip with her paws. And so yeah, Pikachu wasn't getting on with the other cats in the previous household, and unfortunately as well, the previous keeper, her rent got put up massively, and she was having to make a lot of cutbacks, and she couldn't, unfortunately, it was very sad, but she couldn't really continue to keep all 4 of the cats, so she was having to pass, I think 2 or 3 of them on, and yeah, luckily she thought I was a good fit for Pikachu, and yeah, I've been incredibly lucky, so Pikachu is a very well behaved cat, aren't you, Pikachu? Very well behaved cat. So you know, the worst thing she does really is pull at the rugs. I've got a few rugs, and there's a couple of them that she'll tug out to try and, I guess, trim her paws, her claws rather. But that's really the worst thing that she does. You're very sweet, aren't you, Pikachu? Other than that, she's very affectionate, and she's in good health. You know, touch wood. I would say, I mentioned her being an anxious cat. One thing that goes along with that is that she is, she's very timid. That's something I should say. She's an incredibly timid cat. So you can tell she's being quite you might not be able to hear her purring, but yeah, she can be a real purrer. But yeah, she's a very timid cat. So when any new people come to the house, or the flat, she immediately hides under the bed. When the doorbell rings, she hides under the bed. Even when people she has met before come to the flat, she hides under the bed. And when it's someone she's met a few times, she'll come out from under the bed quite soon. And with someone she's never met before, it kind of depends. Sometimes she will come out maybe after I don't know, an hour, 2 hours. It really takes a while. And I mean, even when I went to pick her up for the first time from the previous keeper, I mean, it was basically, she was just hiding behind the sofa the entire time. And yeah, the previous keeper really had to lure her out with treemies. And yeah, we were there for an hour before we managed to lure her into a cat carrier. So yeah, very timid. But it just, I mean, I don't know, in my book it just makes her all the more lovable, because when she does start showing you affection, because it's hard won, it feels earned, and it feels like she really trusts you, and you've really won her over. And I mean, she's only gotten more and more comfortable with me in the years that I've had her, which has been really lovely to see, and she's just so comfortable now with me. She doesn't even, there was a period where she would kind of I don't know, flinch if I tried to walk past her in the corridor or the hallway or whatever. And now she's pretty comfortable. So she kind of I don't scare her nearly as much. She doesn't scare as easily, which is lovely. Yeah, and the other thing to say is her being timid. I've kind of learned the connection between that and her being anxious. So I've only ever really had one real scare with Pikachu, and that was that, and this is partly just from inexperience, partly me not having had a cat before, partly me not understanding the psychology of Pikachu specifically. So, yeah, I had this kind of scare where I'd been away for about a week. I think it was about a week. Yeah, I think she'd been with a friend who'd brought her back. And I'd also got a cold since I'd come back. Excuse me. Because I'd been travelling. Sorry. I'd been travelling. And I think the combination of me having been away for a while, me having a cold, so I probably smelled different and sounded different. Basically, Pikachu got a very upset stomach and was going in and out of her litter tray a lot. Sometimes I mean, I don't want to get too graphic, but yeah, basically, sometimes she was actually using the litter tray, other times she was just kind of going in and kind of padding around and then coming out of it. And she was licking herself a lot. Yeah, I'd never seen this from her before, and it made me quite worried. And yeah, she basically had diarrhea. Again, sorry to get too graphic. But yeah, poor Pikachu. Poor thing. And yeah, because I'd never seen this before, I freaked out a bit. And I got into a bit of an anxiety cycle about, what happens if she's got some kind of, I don't know, real serious problem. I didn't want to be kind of complacent or dormant about it. And yeah, I got into a bit of a headspin, and I ended up taking her to the vet in the middle of the night. It was 1 in the morning, it was winter, it was very cold. I still had a bit of a cold myself, a bit of a sore throat. Yeah, so it was not fun. I took her to this story short, she was fine. She was literally just anxious. They gave her, I think, some painkillers and maybe, but I think it was just painkillers really. Maybe something to kind of de-stress her a little bit. The irony was they were saying, oh, she's probably just stressed. And I just remember thinking, well, dragging her out in the middle of the night at 1 in the morning, and taking her to a brand new place, because I'd not used that particular vet before because it was a 24-hour one, and I thought dragging her out all that way is definitely not going to have calmed her down, poor thing. But yeah, I mean, needless to say, they charged me a hell of a lot of money for basically just the reassurance that she was fine, which I guess, I was at least glad to hear that she was fine. The main insightful thing that the vet told me, which I didn't know, was that cats who are very timid, as Pikachu is, they generally, they often can suffer from things like stomach problems. And I already knew that a little bit because the previous keeper had said that she has a sensitive stomach, so don't change her diet. In the end, I did change her diet slightly because she wasn't eating the dry food that the previous keeper had recommended. She was having cat biscuit, and she didn't seem that into it. So I switched to Whiskers, and now she's a fully Whiskers cat. This is not sponsored, by the way, but yeah. So she has a small, because she's a small cat, she doesn't need to eat that much. So she has a small bowl of dry food in the morning, and then one Whiskers pouch in the evening. And to be honest, I mean, by the morning, sometimes she hasn't even finished the entire pouch. It varies a little bit. So yeah, she's not. I don't have any worries about her overeating. She is a healthy weight and a healthy size for this sort of cat. So she has a sensitive stomach, and the vet was saying that cats who are very timid tend to internalize a lot of their anxiety or their concern or their fear or whatever's going on. So I mentioned that Pikachu isn't an aggressive cat. She's never deliberately scratched me, or she's never lashed out. And even when she's stressed, she'll just kind of hide, or she'll curl up. Maybe she'll make it, she'll cling to the carpet or whatever if I'm trying to get her into her carrier. Which, to be fair, she's become a lot more comfortable with recently because I think she's just gotten used to the process. But yeah, she won't lash out or anything. But clearly, what the vet was saying, I don't know what happened there. I think she's seen a spider or something. But yeah, what the vet was saying was that a lot of that anxiety or whatever she's feeling, like anxiety about being left with a friend when I go away, even for a short time, and just the change in environment and probably smell and routine or all of that, that can, I guess, make her a little bit anxious, particularly when she wasn't used to it. And that in turn can cause her to have stomach trouble. But what I've since learned, because I know that about her now, I don't overreact the way I did the first time. Oh, Pikachu is on the move. So that has happened subsequently, where I've gotten ill, and Pikachu has then got a stomach bug, and she has been using her litter tray more often. But the general advice that I've seen online, which has held true for me, is that if she's behaving normally in every other way, and she's not overly lethargic or anything, then she is very likely fine. And certainly if it doesn't last with myself because, you know, I paid attention to it, but I didn't freak out. I didn't take her to the vets for an emergency or anything, because I've kind of learned that it isn't really an emergency in that particular case. Certainly not when there's nothing else that's wrong with her. But what I have learned is that normally what it means is when she's anxious, really what she wants more than anything is just some attention. And that doesn't even necessarily mean, like, it might mean that she wants me to play with her, but it can also just mean that she wants to fall asleep on my lap. So I always try and make sure that I'm making time in my day where there's opportunities for her to do that if she wants to. And yeah, I would say she's a very happy cat. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen that she's got 2 cat trees. She's got that one that you can see in the mirror. That's a floor-to-ceiling cat tree. And then she's got a smaller one in the living room, and both of them are by windows. And she loves looking out of the window and kind of chattering. The one thing I haven't mentioned that you might be wondering about: why is she called Pikachu? So people think that, you know, naturally because my cat's called Pikachu, I must have a real obsession with Pokemon. Funnily enough, that's actually not the case. I think I did collect Pokemon cards as a kid, but when I was very, very young, mainly my sibling did it. And yeah, I never had a particular like attachment to Pokemon. She's called Pikachu literally because that's what the previous keeper called her. And I thought about changing her name, but I think it's cute. I ended up keeping it. So I ended up keeping it as Pikachu, and it's always funny. Like, people always smile when I tell them that I've got a cat called Pikachu. So I guess it's a good name. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to tell you about her. I hope you've enjoyed this ramble. If you have, please check out my other videos where I talk about some of my vintage lamps. One of which you can see straight ahead. That one as well is new. That's now been put on the wall, and my friend Ed has wired it in. And there's a bunch of others, and I also talk about the vintage furniture in this room. So please check out that video. And yeah, like, subscribe,